Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're having a good weekend. Okay, so Carlos Canizales is the new WBC light-flyweight champion. He defeated Panya Pradabsri, I think Pradabsri, is that how you pronounce it? I'm not so sure. But Canizales is from Caracas, Venezuela. This fight took place in Caracas, Venezuela. And Pradabsri was the WBC light fly champ. He won it against Carlos Canizales, and this was over in Thailand, where he was from. Now, this was in December of last year. I think it was on Boxing Day of all days, rather apt. It was in, like I say, it was in Bangkok, and Pradabsri won a majority decision, and it was highly debatable. Almost everyone that watched that fight thought that Canizales won it. Very, very controversial decision. With the word robbery gets thrown around a lot, doesn't it? But a lot of people were like, come on, take a look. This was a cast iron rip-off. But Canizales, at 32, 2 years younger than Pradabsri, he nevertheless managed to turn the tables. Like I say, in Caracas, he dragged Pradabsri from Thailand over to Caracas. And this time he had an air of someone who would not be denied. It's almost like he had a manner of, oh, you ripped me off. You ripped me off. You didn't win that first fight, and I'm going to leave absolutely everything in the ring. All right? And he fought like that. He fought like a man kind of, you were either going to flatten him or he was going to take you out. Well, the first 2 rounds, like I say, he exuded that sort of utter determination. And Pradabsri didn't do anything wrong. He was the champion coming in. He boxed well. He seemed to be confident. But there was just, every time Canizales landed with that thudding power, Pradabsri seems to sort of shake. I don't mean he was buzzed. I mean, the sheer weight of the punch was shaking him to his boots. Whereas when he let his hands go, and he was landed on Canizales, not with salvos, but with, the odd 1-2. There was some nice little technique from Pradabsri. It wasn't really having a great effect on Canizales. Canizales seemed to be saying, I'm going to hit you first, and you might hit me back, but I'll hit you last as well. And the first 2 rounds went to, for me anyway, went to Canizales. He looked like a man on a mission. Well, Pradabsri in the 3rd round, there was a head clash, and Pradabsri moved away, and the referee got the doctor to have a look to see if, I don't know what he was looking at. Maybe there was a cut on the scalp, they were thinking. I think that the doctor was looking at his scalp, and there was no injury, but I thought Pradabsri looks a little bit, the body language wasn't positive. He looks a little bit concerned. I wonder if he's been concussed, by the head, because when you crack heads, it isn't just a case of, oh, have I been cut? And of course, some cuts are horrendous. It's also a case of, concussion possibly, or the effect of being headbutted. I mean, you can even end up, in the worst cases, you can end up with a brain bleed. Brain bleed. Oh, I keep getting me whacking thirds up mixed. Anyway, Pradabsri was okay. He carried on fighting. And in the 4th round, he had the best moment of the fight, because early in the 4th round, he landed a big overhand right. Like I say, he was boxing well. It's just that Canizales looked, especially in front of his own crew, his own crowd, like he was going to, like I say, he was on a mission. You're going to have to kill me to beat me. But Pradabsri landed a big overhand right, which knocked Canizales into the ropes and sort of knocked him momentarily down. It was called a knockdown. It was a knockdown. He jumps up, the crowd are like, whoa, no, that was a knockdown. That was a knockdown. And Pradabsri, again, good technique, nice little tight boxing, carried on, letting the punches go. But by the end of the round, Canizales didn't look buzzed, he didn't look particularly hurt. By the end of the round, maybe the opportunity had gone. But it was obviously a 10-8 round for Pradabsri. I thought he lost the first 3 rounds, so he's right back in the fight. And then in the 5th round, we had Canizales coming forward. Really, he was pinning Pradabsri frequently on the ropes and letting his hands go. And Pradabsri was defending well and was, he'd make his way back to the middle of the ring, but he was having to take punishment in order to sort of still try and keep the fight central to the ring. When he was on the ropes, there was only going to be one winner, and it was not Panya Pradabsri. So Canizales was the stalker. Canizales put in that, constant pressure on. Pradabsri seemingly handling it well, even though he was feeling the weight of the punches. And then right at the end of the 5th round, there was an enormous left hook from Canizales right onto the floating rib of Pradabsri. There was a slight delay reaction, and then he went down in the corner. This was right at the end of the round. I mean, there must have been about 10 seconds left. And he was counted out. He just couldn't get up. The body punch was too much. So Carlos Canizales got his revenge over Panya Pradabsri. And yeah, I mean, that first fight, most people would consider it to be a shocking decision. 2 of the judges I don't think I'd ever even heard of. But that says it was in Thailand. The home fighter got the rub of the green, but this time round, the home fighter left absolutely no doubt. And I mean, okay, they're 1 each technically, but was there really any need for a 3rd fight? Some would argue not. But Canizales at 32 is a world champion again. I say again, he did hold, I think it was, I lose track of these titles, I think it was the WBA light-flyweight interim belt or regular belt at some point, but he held it for a few years, if memory serves. And he has fought good men. Apart from Pradabsri, he's fought Kenshiro Teraji. He lost a very close fight at the start of 2024. He lost a majority decision, and I think a couple of judges had Teraji maybe 2 points ahead. I got 115, 113 or 114, 112, something along those lines. But very, very, he gave Teraji a right old row. And like I say, he's been a very, very good light flyweight for a long, long time. And it looked to me like he's got plenty left to offer. I mean, he's now 28 wins with 20 KOs, 3 defeats. One of those defeats was a stoppage. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember who it was. I only got stopped once because it was considered to be a bit of a shocker. I can't remember the opponent. But despite the losses, the very controversial loss to Pradabsri in the first fight and the fight with Kenshiro Teraji, I mean, if you look at it from his last 4 fights, he's 2-2. But trust me, that's statistics, damn statistics and lies. He's much, much better than that. And in fact, I expect him to be a threat, to any light flyweight in the world, any of them. Now, as far as Pradabsri is concerned, the Thai fighter's 2 years older at 34. He's got 44 wins with 27 KOs, but the quality of the opposition is not very good. And this was his 3rd defeat. It was the first time he was stopped, and it took a good old body punch, an excellent body punch to stop him. But at 34, you do wonder, has he got anything left? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. He was, by the way, he was a former WBC minimum weight champion. So this was his 2nd division. He was going for he actually briefly held the WBC light flyweight title. So he's a 2-weight world champ. But at 34, I do wonder whether he can come back again. Maybe he can. I mean, maybe that body punch was an aberration. He didn't look like a shot fighter. But yeah, it was a good fight. And if you can catch it on YouTube, do so and tell me what you think. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you did like it, please hit the like button. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new. We've got plenty of videos every day for you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading what you've got to say, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.